just good blocking? Was that moan from joy or mocking? The towel stayed on, but the tension was thick. Was it sexy or just a camera trick? From kisses to caresses, we're breaking down the yeses. Faking it with Ariel and Morgan.
Hi, I'm Ariel Lee Cohen,
Hey, I'm Morgan Smith.
and we are the hosts of Faking It with Ariel and Morgan.
We're two intimacy coordinators here to talk about the spicy scenes you see in film and TV.
We have our first guest ever on Faking It, Amanda Holland. Yay! Thank you for joining us.
Yay. Thank you for having me.
Amanda Holland is an award-winning comedy writer and filmmaker. You may recognize her if you were chronically online in the mid-2010s from BuzzFeed videos or from the show Junk Lesbians Watch on her channel Girlship TV, now Fruity TV on YouTube. You can listen to her on her podcast On the Phone with Ash Perez, and more importantly, if you're looking to fund queer movies or TV, you could DM her now. She's got a lot of ideas.
Thank you so much for being here on this very special holiday episode.
We're going to protect and defend trans kids in this episode.
Hell yeah.
It's the best holiday
and that's evergreen.
wish.
That's all I want from Santa.
I'm also wearing Happy Holidays shirt made by Fruity TV.
That's a classic. That's a classic sweatshirt.
Yay. Mine has
Yes.
nothing gay on it, but it's covering a gay person. So it's gay. Good shirt banter. All right, Amanda, we would love to know what's your experience with intimacy in film and TV?
As a director, I've had to direct some intimacy myself, especially on a very small indie set. If you have a camera set up pointed at a bed and it's just you as the director and one other crew member and you're like, get into the bed, actors, it feels like a different kind of shoot. And so it's very important. It's good to have that second person there because I'm generally a pretty awkward person, pretty confident at directing, but when it comes to those scenes, I will resort to jokes, and sometimes that's not comforting to some people. So I've had to do some scenes myself. For a short film recently, I did have Ariel come on to be the intimacy coordinator. Morgan, you were there.
Yeah.
I was there because I was acting in it.
Yes, that's how Morgan and I met.
You brought us together.
Yeah, I did. It was very helpful having Ariel there because I was able to explain everything I needed. And Ariel was able to work with the actors while I worked with the DP to make sure we had the shot set up. So it's kind of a better way to delegate. Directors are doing so many different things, and you don't have time to sit and really talk to an actor about what they're comfortable with. I mean, you should make the time, but that's just another good reason to have an intimacy coordinator on hand. Like, I did do a web series where I had my two actresses. I was like, I'm not going to make you guys do anything you don't want to do. We do have to make you look like you're not wearing shirts in bed. So if you guys want to wear tank tops and just take the straps off, and you can keep your jeans on because we're just going to put the sheet up here, trying to make everybody comfortable as possible.
That's a perfectly acceptable thing to do. As long as it's out of frame, you're good to go if everybody's comfortable.
Yeah. I personally don't believe, and you guys are more experts on this, but whenever I see indie films or specifically indie short films that insist on having nudity, I'm like, why? Your 10-minute short film needed this topless scene? Why?
Sometimes it informs the narrative, but not always.
I feel you. When it's a smaller project, you have to really justify why this is necessary for the story. That can be hard to do, especially if you're not you, obviously, because you've been doing this for such a long time. But there are people who are like often newer. And so they're using like shorts or web series to like figure stuff out. And so sometimes they don't always fully think through like, why do I have topless nudity in this scene? And they were like, well, because the characters are topless.
Yeah, that's enough.
And so then we can be helpful and be like, okay, but why? And then if they have a good why, cool. And if it doesn't, then we can figure something else out. Like you have your shirt on, but it's just out of frame. I'm trying to think of like a real example where the topless nudity was very justified.
I will say all of this is coming from my perspective, which is a comedy writer. So I think in
Right.
comedy, it's easier to justify. In not another teen movie, a foreign exchange student is like
Yes.
very sexualized, and she's just naked the entire time.
Yes. Oh my God. Amazing example. Because she is fully nude everywhere she goes.
Yeah, and has like a see-through backpack.
Yes.
Yes. And she's like, I like your backpack.
Forgot
No,
about the
and
backpack.
then there's even the scene during the musical moment in that movie where like a cartoon bird lands on her breast and like sings with her for a
Yes.
second.
Oh my
I
God.
love that movie. Great
I forgot
example.
about the bird.
Great. Yeah.
So good.
Bad example would be, I love seeing topless women. Let's throw it in there. Which, as reasons go.
I would be curious to know what you guys think about scenes that are not sexualized nudity. I think it's
Mm-hmm.
fascinating. I just watched the episode of I Love LA, the pilot, and like there's a point where Rachel Sennett is just, they probably did this a lot in Girls too, where she's just talking to her boyfriend, just takes her shirt off to put deodorant on. You fully
Yes.
see her. And I was just like, this is interesting. And then the best example I can give, oh God, I can't remember the movie name, but it's by Sarah Silverman was in it. It's a Canadian film. I think Seth Rogen was in it. All I remember is they have a full scene in a locker room. It's just women of every age getting dressed and they're just completely nude and talking. And it was so interesting to me because I was like, this is not sexualized, so it doesn't feel weird. And I just
Yeah.
like at a certain point didn't see it anymore.
There's a scene in Blue Velvet where Isabella Rossellini, she is fully nude on camera, and it is the least sexualized I've ever seen anyone be. And she's a gorgeous, gorgeous woman, but she is just hankered over and thin. There's nothing sexualized about the body. It is just a body in space. And it is a live body, but it might as well be a corpse for how sensual she is appearing in this film. I don't think it would have been as visceral if she hadn't been nude.
Because it's about her vulnerability and her being like emotionally stripped down as opposed to it being sexual.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So today we are watching, in honor of our holiday special episode, the movie Carol from 2015.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of my faves.
Oh my God.
I listened to the soundtrack so many times.
Ooh, it's such a good soundtrack.
Such a good soundtrack.
Like, listen to the soundtrack, but I bet it's awesome.
It's mostly just the score, but it's
no,
a good
but
score.
there could be beautiful, beautiful scores. I mean, look at Lord of the
Yes.
Rings. Great score. Different movie, great score. Also Cate Blanchett.
Oh my God, that's right.
Cate Blanchett as Carol Aird and Rooney Mara as Therese Bellevue. It's written by Patricia Highsmith and Phyllis Nagy, directed by Todd Haynes, and intimacy coordinated by no one. So, this is set in the 1950s in New York. Carol Aird, a married woman facing divorce, meets Therese Bellevue, a young photographer, and their forbidden connection deepens on a road trip meant to escape Carol's unraveling life. On New Year's Eve, in a modest motel with twin beds and a radio, their relationship finally turns intimate. Carol Aird, for reference, has had one previous same-sex relationship, and Therese Bellevue, on the other hand, has never been with a woman or anyone really before.
They're also in Waterloo.
I forgot where they were.
So she's stroking her hair in the mirror as the holiday radio plays.
She's not alone this year.
Yeah, look, little handhold.
But the robe pull kills me.
Oh, Cate Blanchett slowly pulling her robe open. And then we go in for a kiss.
And we even have the hand over the chest, sort of not knowing what to do because it's new to her. Oh, I love it.
I also love a kiss where there's a hand on the back of the head, which Kate is doing to Rooney in this scene. So
Yes.
nice.
I will say
Chef's
too,
kiss.
if you haven't watched this movie, this is an hour in, so the buildup is insane.
Yes.
You could pour this intensity over pancakes. It's so thick.
Now Rooney's lying down on the bed. Her robe is open to reveal her chest.
I don't know if you guys saw this in theaters, but that wide shot, the way they did that on a screen is insane too. Because he made it horizontal instead. It's just her whole body taking up the screen.
And now the robes are off and they're making out.
I believe we had mouth on nipple for a moment.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Are we all just distracted?
We're all distracted. And now we're simulating oral sex with Cate's character down. Rooney is reacting to it. We can see the back of Cate Blanchett's body. It really looks like a painting.
Yeah. I don't think we ever see Cate Blanchett's front either.
That's what I was just about to say.
Yeah.
Which is fine. We don't need it.
It's fine.
This beautiful strings.
I love how we're seeing it from like upside down.
Here comes the score.
Mm.
Now they're kissing more. Hands in hair.
This is where we kind of escape into a blurry mess of sex.
Yes. And it fades to black and we still hear the noises, the breathing.
Exactly.
That's a good scene.
Oh,
That's such a good
Class.
scene.
this is beautiful. This is beautiful. I have a feeling that this is going to get an A, even though there was no intimacy coordinator for the first time on the show.
It's interesting. It didn't occur to me that, like, oh, yeah, we never see Kate's front, but it's not her journey. It's Therese's. Like, she's the one being vulnerable. She's the one doing this for the first time, so we don't need to see Kate's front. She has a boyfriend, but, like, it's not really clear how close they are.
And this was at a time where it was really common to wait until marriage. So it's very likely that she was doing that. And it was maybe really easy for her to do with a man.
I also have some quotes from Cate Blanchett about the simulated sex scenes.
Oh, yeah.
So this is from oxfordmail.co.uk. So she said on the red carpet outside of Leicester Square, you always have to scrutinize and ask hard questions of those scenes and how necessary are they. But the consummation of Carol and Therese's relationship is really important. It's just about how we were going to do it. We talked about the scene. There's a great sense of trust between Rooney and I felt as comfortable with them as any other love scene. The director also said in the same article, love scenes are always hard. They are always scary. We do our best to all talk about it together, me and the actors, to know exactly what they're calling for narratively to how we're going to shoot it, so they feel as comfortable and prepared as possible. So I think that's a really beautiful way of going about it, pre-intimacy coordinators.
It sounds like
Yeah.
Cate Blanchett really took charge of making sure there was clarity in what was going to happen in this scene. I mean, the director was obviously really open to it, having those conversations. By this point, Cate Blanchett, I think, had already won an Oscar and had been the leading role in so many movies. So she also had the cachet to be able to dictate how they were going to approach the scene. And I think it allowed that trust between all three of them so that we ended up getting something really beautiful and really vulnerable.
Honestly, that first shot of her taking off her shirt where it's in a horizontal view is still
Ugh.
slightly jarring to me. I didn't realize this was going to be like it just takes up the whole screen. It conveys the vulnerability of the character, but it's such an interesting way to shoot that.
I watch this movie every year for the holidays.
It's a Christmas Carol.
It is. And so I love how this scene is really about like her being the most open with Cate Blanchett's character. And we're doing that both with like the metaphor of her body and also with having this first sexual experience.
I do also love the softness in the beginning, and then it's just like my angel flung out of space, and then that's when they're like, we have to have each other now.
Yes.
I also loved the tugging of the robe open that's completely covered by Rooney Mara. Just stunning, beautiful. I'm sure contractually Cate Blanchett was like, you are not able to see my nipples there, but by God, I need to see nothing. Just how beautifully smooth it was. And also the dichotomy between that robe pull and the robe just opening a little bit versus when Rooney Mara's on the bed and it's opened all the way. It also goes to show how much vulnerability the characters are feeling with each other. Even though Cate Blanchett has implied full top nudity, one of them is being more vulnerable than the other one in this scene.
I could honestly maybe do a whole podcast just about that robe pull. It is so gorgeous. It's so effective. Like,
So effective.
I don't know if there's another robe pull in the history of cinema that is as hot as that robe pull. Wow.
We didn't need to see anything. Like, all the lesbians instantly turned on. We don't need to see nudity, just that motion.
Every
It's just-
sapphic,
oh.
if she didn't already know she was queer, she might have realized it in that moment. Like, if I hadn't already come out when I saw this movie, it might have been like, oh. Her character is so much about mystery and intrigue and a quiet power. And she has that both in her relationship with Rudy Mara's character and also in her marriage with a man, which for that time period is really interesting. And I think that's what the rope pull really exemplifies in such a simple gesture. And I think that's why it's so intriguing, because we're like, ugh, the power of Cate Blanchett.
She was taking a risk. They hadn't kissed yet.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So it's power, but also vulnerability.
Mm. But vulnerability is a power.
True. Yeah.
I just love that all of us just suddenly were silent. We were just like, just dead silence across the group. We completely forgot what we were doing. I'm wondering if we should watch the robe pull moment one more time. Thoughts?
Yes, absolutely. I think it's important.
I think it's important for the listeners to listen to us watching this scene again.
The rope pull.
I think that is what is important here. The sweeping score, though.
So good. Cate Blanchett notably has a beer and she has champagne, which I think is like a power move.
And she's wearing shoulder pads in this robe, which I think is trying to give her like a boxier, more masculine looking silhouette.
And she's in like the red robe. Could do a whole rant about the first wardrobe we see her in, where she's just a walking vagina. And then the slow robe pull.
I'm dead and I have died.
Ah!
I feel like we need to watch it one more, but maybe we shouldn't.
Okay, do it one more time.
We'll do it one more time, just for the
Roll of
audience,
threes.
for their sake.
Now they're holding hands, which is so sweet.
It's gonna happen.
And I feel like the hand holding's permission, because here Kate goes down to the robe to pull it off.
Yes!
Yes.
It's my favorite
It's
thing.
on. Two things that I've noticed 3 times watching it. The hand, it's like Rooney broke the touch barrier. Well,
Yes.
Carol did, but Rooney accepted the touch barrier breaking.
What's really interesting about Cate Blanchett's performance here is that it's not like she takes a sharp inhale, makes the decision in herself, opens the robe. It's like she doesn't breathe in that moment. I have made this choice and I am as tense as anyone could possibly be. But she also is playing it so smooth. It's so layered. I
love that you brought that up, because it is so true that her character overall in the movie is someone who is so conscious of being watched all the time. And when you think of someone who is closeted in the 1950s, hypervigilant about how they're being perceived at all times. And it's one of those things where, like, when you practice doing it, it's hard to know when to turn that off. So every small gesture means so much. So even just the hand holding is such a clear signal of this can go beyond a platonic relationship.
They just do such a good job building the tension. I mean, that we had to wait an hour for it to happen, but still, it's like such a good release. Yeah.
If we could watch the entire movie and watch that tension build as the movie goes on till we get to the impetus here, we would. Maybe one day we'll do that. We'll react to the entire movie. Feel like we'd be so silent.
So good.
Well, on that note, should we move on to the spice scale and rate this definite A? All right.
Welcome to the Spice Scale, our not-so-scientific way of rating intimacy scenes based on consent and power dynamics, technical craft and coordination excellence, and heat factor. Each category gets a score from 1 to 5, with 5 being the highest. Then we add it all up to give the scene a final letter grade. Let us start with consent and power dynamics. We touched on this a little bit, but Amanda, you want to kick us off?
For consent, I'd say 4.5, if not 5.
Why the 0.5? Tell me more.
All of the consent was body language and not an explicit yes.
Okay. Cool.
I accept that.
Fair.
How does this scene depict power? I mean, even just Cate Blanchett's character standing while Rooney Mara's sitting, and Cate Blanchett hovering over her while Rooney Mara's on her back and facing up.
Even with Kate walking into the room and drinking her beer, initiating the cheers, standing behind, like all of it is Kate power, Kate power, Kate power.
Because she has the power throughout the entire movie, except for like maybe at the end when Rooney finally has the power. It feels like Kate's aware of her power dynamic.
Yes.
And in that particular scene, definitely like tries to bring herself down so that it doesn't feel as like, I'm doing this to you. Like, we're doing this together.
When she moves up the bed so that she's face to face with Rooney, it's not just Kate dominating. It's the two of them having a shared moment together.
Cate Blanchett's face is propped up slightly. Like, she's still a little bit higher. Now, that may just be a tactic so we can see more of her face over the shoulder. But even still, like, the power dynamic is still a little unbalanced. And I think in a smart way.
Truly can't remember right now. And it's not me asking to go back to the scene.
Yeah, okay.
When Carol says, you know, my angel flung out of space, who kisses who first right after that? Does Rooney go in first for that, like, hungry kiss?
Let me pull it back up. Not that you needed to see it
Oh,
again.
no.
Twist my arm.
Don't watch it without us. That's rude.
Listen, I'll do what I want. Together kiss.
Yeah, I guess it's not really clear.
They initiate together moment kind of thing.
Yeah. I wasn't sure if that was going to give Rooney more power.
You can see Rooney Mara's character kind of using her thumb on Cate Blanchett's shoulder, which is not quite a power move, but she is initiating some level of this.
We might need to watch again.
No, we need to watch 6 more times, y'all. But yeah, I say
each
5.
level of the spice scale. I'm good with 5.
I'm sticking with 4.5.
Okay. I like your reasoning of it was all body language and there wasn't any verbal, which is true, even though I believe they were both consenting. I love supporting an enthusiastic yes.
4.5.
I know you want to give it. I know you want to give it all 5s.
That's what the group wants, and I do hear what you're saying. All right, next up, technical craft coordination excellence.
I know we touched on this a bit in our initial reactions, and if you need to watch it again, we absolutely can watch a section of the scene again. We've talked about how beautiful the staging is, the film coverage of Rooney when we first see her fully exposed is so gorgeous. The modesty protection had to have been pretty good, especially I'm thinking when there's simulated oral sex. It's far enough down that her hair and her head would cover whatever modesty garment Rooney Mara may have been wearing for this scene. It looked real enough to me. It's not the most realistic simulated oral that we've seen. To me, she looks a bit on the thigh, but I do remember when I first watched this before I was an intimacy coordinator, I was like, sold!
If I'm looking at it from an IC perspective, she's a little off the mark. The head movement is a little unclear. I kind of just looks like hair, and then she comes back up one moment later. But that being said, they are in an exploratory phase in their relationship, and I am fine with them kind of just meandering around the body, worshiping each other. Do you have thoughts, Amanda? I see your face.
This is a fun conversation to have with my girlfriend next to me. Because I was literally just like imagining myself as Rooney Mara. I was like, what would I do if I had like just a modesty garment and just Cate Blanchett's hair brushing my thigh as if she's simulating sex? Oh my God. It does feel like she's more head on thigh. I felt that
Yeah.
too, because I think there was a moment where I was like, oh, she's not anywhere near it, so we're good.
She's just saying no to her thigh. Like, there's no way she's stimulating her genitalia at all, which, as you were saying, Ariel, maybe isn't the story we're telling in this moment, but I don't think that's the action that's actually happening if I'm going to be nitpicky about it.
She's just teasing her.
She's teasing her. It's not laughably off.
Yeah.
You know, I've definitely seen scenes where I'm like, there is no way. I'm like, I don't think that character's vagina is by her knee. You know, this wasn't that.
All right, well, I want to give it a 4.5.
4.5. Amanda, what do you think?
4.25.
Interesting.
We've got a battle. I'm going to say 4 just because I think that was supposed to be her simulating oral sex and not just like teasing her. She didn't come up with the energy of like, yeah, I'm teasing you. I'm going to say 4. And then we can average it to Amanda's score 4.25.
Beautiful. All right, let's move on to heat factor.
10.
Uh-huh.
We can do it for what? 10 it is. 10 out of 10. Hot, great, robe moment. Pretty much across the board. Amazing. I think the sheer amount of times we've rewatched this scene surpasses any scene we've ever watched in this podcast by like 5. So, sure.
I'm trying to not be biased because we're all sapphics, but I feel like pretty universally this was a very hot scene, right? I just want to double check myself and make sure I'm not like tipping the scales too much.
I could see even the straight women appreciating the buildup. And then, of course, men are going to love it.
Mm-hmm. Even if you're not a person who's attracted to women, I feel like you can appreciate the like tension build and the chemistry in the scene.
This film gets an A. Claps for Carol.
Yay!
0% surprised. But it is our first A to not have an intimacy coordinator, so hell yeah. Go team.
I guess this could be a hot take. A lot happens in that scene. There's not a lot of choreography. I could be speaking from do you guys?
I would say there's a good amount of choreography. It's just funny because we think of choreography as like it's always like bigger movements, but there's a lot of smaller gestures that happen that do tell a story. For the most part, what they did on their own was great. One thing an intimacy coordinator could have definitely helped was the simulated oral sex part.
Oh, sure. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
arguing against you guys. I just was
No,
like,
no, I'm not saying you are.
dare
You
I'm
come on to
advocating
my
for you.
podcast.
Right. Well, we are at our final segment, positioned to know. Is there anything like relating to our work that you have a question about?
Since intimacy coordinators have kind of become more popular in the US, I don't know if you guys have talked about this, some pushback from like veteran actors.
Mm.
The sigh and the general, like, to me, it's clear why an intimacy coordinator is needed, but I guess, what do you guys generally say to those people? And I'm sure you run into directors who are probably like, oh no, we don't need this.
I've been very lucky in that most of the people that I've worked with have been very on board with working with an intimacy coordinator. I think a lot of the resistance comes from people who've never worked with one before. So they don't fully understand what we do. There's a lot of feelings of like, my presence on set is implying that you were going to do something wrong. And I'm here to watch you and catch you and make sure you don't do a wrong thing, and I will cancel you if you do. Or I'm somehow implying that you're not professional in some way, or this whole time you've been doing your job, you haven't been doing it as well as you thought because now you need me. And in a lot of ways, I do understand that perspective, especially from someone who's been working in the industry a long time. What I will say to that is, we are here to tell the story. We're here to support in whatever capacity works best for the people we're working with. So some directors want to get into the nitty-gritty and get really technical about exactly what we're going to do. Some directors are more about vibes. I can work with people who are anywhere on the spectrum, and any good intimacy coordinator can. This is the new industry standard. Give it a shot and see how we can help. And I think whenever I bring it back to story, a lot of people relax and realize, like, oh, I'm here for the same reason you are.
That was beautifully said, and I agree with all of it.
Thank you.
I also want to add that I think it's a conspiracy. I think that the studios, this is what I believe. I believe that the studios are trying to make actors publicly say that we are useless, because I'm seeing it all the time. People who, as Morgan has stated, have never worked with one. There was a point that, like, very recently where Jennifer Lawrence stated about a movie she just did with Robert Pattinson. She was like, I think we had an intimacy coordinator. I don't know. I don't need one because Rob is not a creep, is what she said. And I'm like, you didn't know if you had one. Maybe the studios themselves are pushing this narrative. Alison Brie and Dave Franco just came out with a movie a little bit ago together. And an article came out where one line was about, I don't think we need an intimacy coordinator because we've been together for a long time and we're directing the movie or whatever. It was one line in the article, and that became the title of the article. The article was not really about that. It was about the movie, and it just became that as like a splashy headline. I think it's a conspiracy to basically slander us as a community.
So, a couple of things.
Yes.
One, I think what you both said is true. Two, I think that people often forget that a movie set is a workplace. As much as you want to think you're doing super important art, you're still employing a lot of people. Two, great, Dave Franco and Alison Brie, you guys have been intimate together. Cool. What about the people who are on set with you? They haven't seen you be intimate. They maybe don't want to see you be intimate. There's a reason that there's that barrier. It's not just for the actors, it's also for everybody on set, right?
Yes.
For sure. And opinions get overblown. Like, I think even with the Jennifer Lawrence thing recently, they made that the headline in Variety, but what she actually said in the article was they ended up having one who was great that just had a more hands-off approach because that's what worked for them as actors. Amanda, when you speak to other directors about your experience working with intimacy coordinators, what would you say?
I think it's as important as having like a scripty on hand. If you're doing something that is very romance-centric where there is a lot of touching, then yeah, that's an important role to have on set because you can delegate to that person. Like the one time that I've used you, Ariel, it just was just so easy for me.
Yay!
I just could like focus on something else. I didn't have to worry about it. Would recommend to other directors, if you're going to have those sexy scenes, you're needed. Otherwise, things are going to get creepy for the actors and for everybody on set. I was like a production assistant / photographer on set for an indie horror film back in like 2009. I remember I felt so bad because there was a girl who was supposed to be giving this actor a blowjob. And granted, he had his pants on. She just had to be like bob in and out of the frames. But everyone was on set. People were being invited in. There was a strip club scene where like everyone was there. I don't know if you guys want to be considered this way because it maybe has like a bad connotation, but it almost feels like HR.
Some people call us the PC police. There is already HR on a SAG film set, but we're there on behalf of everyone, whereas HR is there on behalf of the company. They'd be there on behalf of the
That's
studio.
true.
So
The
I think that's a big
studio, yeah,
difference.
that's true.
Yeah.
There is something about our presence that can help guide the way a scene is handled. If I was working on that project where the director was just like inviting people in, I could go to the first AD or I could go to the director and be like, hey, I think we don't actually need them here, just the people that we need. That way you'll get the best performance out of your actors. And so that can feel like HR because you are like managing different people's relationships and reactions, right? And doing some conflict resolution. So there is some crossover in those areas.
We are called intimacy coordinators. We are there to coordinate the scenes between all departments. We are there not in an HR capacity, but to make sure that everyone understands what is going on and gets ahead of problems. A lot of people think that we're there as a preventative measure, that we're just there to stop all the pain and horrors of the past. And while we are there to maintain boundaries and maintain as safe a space as we can, we're also, there to make scenes better. There are plenty of scenes that were in the past done consensually that just look terrible. And it doesn't matter that everyone was happy doing it. They look unrealistic, inauthentic. The actors look confused.
I'm sure the reason that specific scene was so bad was because the director had other shit that he was trying to figure out and didn't have time to sit down and choreograph that scene. It's another great collaborator to have on set.
That's such a great way to sum it up, Amanda. And on that note, before we let you go, is there anything you would like to plug?
Yes, I currently have a podcast called On the Phone with Ash and Amanda. And if you just need something dumb to put on while you're doing laundry or doing the dishes in the background, we're just chatting on the phone about different things.
Amazing.
I love it. I want to plug also something on behalf of Morgan and I. We both worked on the vertical Bound by Honor, which is based on a book with the same title.
Ooh.
It is the spiciest spice. If you have interest, it's on real short now. You can enjoy. Thank you so much, Amanda, for joining us. We've taken up so much of your time, so we really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. This was fun.
Ah, yes. So happy to hear that. Yay. And go buy shirts that say Happy Holidays and A Christmas Carol on the Fruity TV website.
Let's do those credit moments.
Thanks for listening to Faking It with Ariel and Morgan.
You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere you get your podcasts. New episodes drop every other Wednesday.
If this was good for you, the best way to support our show is to follow the podcast and leave a quick rating or review. It takes less than 30 seconds and it really helps us.
Tell one friend who loves spicy movie secrets about us. Find us on social media at Faking It the Pod.
Want to get involved? Head to patreon.com/fakingitthepod. For just $1, you can request scenes for us to break down. For $10, you can get bonus content and never-before-seen footage. And for $5, you can get a shout-out like this listener. Thank you, Kimmy Brown, Patreon subscriber.
Stay real, fakers.
Faking It with Ariel and Morgan is produced independently by Ariel Lee Cohen and Morgan Smith, edited by Ariel, and social media and branding by Morgan. Our theme song is Faking It by Suno AI until we get monetized, so feel free to send us a new one. Have questions, thoughts, or media recommendations? Hit us up at fakingthepod.com. Find us on all socials at Faking the Pod and head over to our Patreon for bonus content. Credits for the film or show we reacted to are in the episode caption.